Hi, Rick Patterson. Today we're going to talk about staining a deck. First thing you want to do with staining a deck is to make sure it's completely clean and cleared off. So let's take a look at that. Now, as you can tell, we've pressure washed this deck, including the staircase and the upper deck. So you want to make sure everything's clear and dry. This deck surface can be damp wet. When there is an upper deck, you want to make sure that the sides underneath the deck towards the house are completely covered from one end to the other. My recommendation, when you have an upper deck over a lower deck, you want to be able to start at the bottom and work your way up to the upper deck. There are spindles on the outside, as in this case, all the way around the deck. You want to make sure that you start on the outside of the deck first, getting the spindles underneath the rail, the railing, and then on the sides as shown here. Work your way down. Make sure that you get all areas where there's mold or mildew. Sand these lightly. Finish sanding, it should look clean like this. Another area you want to make sure that you catch is any rough areas due from pressure washing. Sand these out till they're smooth and no more splinters. You can use a sand paper or sand pad just like so. Sand until all is smooth, no rough edges, no splintering. Pressure washing on decks, especially older decks, are very, very difficult not to splinter. So what you do is just use a pad like so, and you can take this and just sand on either side all the way up and down until all the splinters are completely smoothed out. In areas where the rail is pitted, it is best, instead of going up and down parallel, because this will pick up splinters either coming forward or backward, you want to go at a 45 degree like so. This will ensure that you do not get any splinters in your hand while trying to remove them. When faced with a 5-gallon bucket, it's almost impossible to get it up on a ladder and carry it up and down, so I recommend using a smaller 1-gallon bucket. Now, one of the things that I recommend when using a ladder and a bucket, you want to make sure that you have one of these devices. What this does, this fits directly into the side of the, I'm going to call it the steps, if you will, the spindle of the ladder, and then you have this inside. And you take your bucket and put this like so, and it carries and holds your bucket for you while you paint. Okay, so what I do here is just go ahead and hit all the outside trim and then move on up to the spindles. Once I've got the spindles covered from top to bottom, I'll do this all the way around. Okay, that's what it's going to look like whenever you cut in a deck. Cut in means to go around the top and the bottom and around the sides best as can, and then I'll show you how we're going to do this next. Okay, as you can tell, what we've done here is again cut everything in all the way around, spindles included at the tops and at the bottom. Then what I do is take a mitten, which I'll show you in just a second, and then just grab a hold of the spindles and paint the rest of them from both sides all the way around. Okay, the bottom part of the deck is done now. So we're going to cover it up. Okay, and as you see, the deck was still wet, so I didn't want the plastic to touch. So what I did is just rigged up plastic over the top of this and made sure it didn't touch. Otherwise, it would make an impression when you pulled the plastic up. Okay, once you start cutting in around the edges, you want to be able to make sure that the paint does get in between the slats. So everything is covered down below on the lower deck now. So we'll start covering this in and then finishing it out as I go. Make sure you don't paint yourself into a corner. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's completely finished. Everything's painted in and it's ready to go now. Excuse my little fastness there. So now what we do, we work on the bottom section here, working our way all the way down. Okay, this is what a finished product looked like. Staircase is done all the way down, and now for the cleanup.